Hey Cougs, welcome back to another episode of In the Game. I'm your host, Maanav Gupta, and a lot has been happening in Houston sports recently. From the Houston Astros starting their postseason run, to the Rockets starting up their season, and the Dash heading to the playoffs for the first time, we're going to talk about it all right here. Well, the 2022 MLB regular season finished last week, and it was one for the books. Lots of exciting storylines, great games, and great players highlighted the 2022 season. We saw the Houston Astros continue their dominance in the American League, ending up with 106 wins, best in the AL to secure the number one seed. The New York Yankees got off to one of the hottest starts we've seen in baseball, and were on pace for 120 wins, but they really struggled in the second half to end up with only 99 wins. Yankees outfielder Aaron Judge was able to reach 62 home runs in a single season, which is the new American League record. Shohei Ohtani, the incredible two-way player for the Angels, continued to put up incredible numbers. The Seattle Mariners are an incredible story this year, making the postseason for the first time in 21 years. The Philadelphia Phillies are another great story, looking dead in the water midway through the season, but were able to regroup with their new manager, Rob Thomson, reaching the October stage after 11 years. We've seen the New York Mets reach the postseason for the first time in 6 years as well, and they lost to the Padres in the wildcard round. The Padres made huge moves to get Juan Soto at the trade deadline. Albert Pujols, the legend, was able to reach 700 home run mark in his legendary career. But now the postseason has been underway, and here are the matchups for the American League and National League Division Series that start Tuesday, October 11th, with 8 teams still alive. The Astros are taking on AL West Division rivals Seattle Mariners in the ALDS. Seattle was able to sweep the Toronto Blue Jays in the wildcard round, winning Game 1 4-0 and making an incredible comeback in Game 2 down 9-1 to win with a final score of 10-9. This will be an intense series, as Seattle will have a home playoff game after 21 years, but the Astros are well suited with their experience as 39-year-old veteran Hall of Fame pitcher and Cy Young favorite Justin Verlander will get the start on Tuesday for Game 1. First pitch is at 2:37 p.m. Central at Minute Maid Park on TBS. The Astros pitching staff have the best ERA in baseball and will have starters Framber Valdez, Lance McCullers Jr., and Christian Javier lined up for the series. We all know what a legend second baseman Jose Altuve is in the postseason, the experienced third baseman Alex Bregman brings, and the offensive production of Yordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker. The Astros are ready to make a deep run. Game 2 will be on Thursday at 2:37 p.m. as well. The other ALDS matchup is the number 2 seed New York Yankees taking on the number 3 seed Cleveland Guardians, who surprisingly won the AL Central. On the National League side, the underdog number 6 seed Philadelphia Phillies, who surprisingly swept the St. Louis Cardinals in the wildcard round, will have a difficult task facing defending World Series champion number 2 seed Atlanta Braves. I've talked to Phillies first baseman Rhys Hoskins, who says, "We believe we can beat anybody." Finally, the best record in baseball, the number 1 seeded LA Dodgers will take on their rival number 5 seed San Diego Padres, who beat the New York Mets in the wildcard round. Basketball season is about to get underway, and the Houston Rockets have already played in 3 preseason games so far against the San Antonio Spurs on October 2nd, the Toronto Blue Jays on October 7th, and the Miami Heat on October 10th. The Rockets ended up winning the first 2 games in front of the local crowd at Toyota Center, dominating the Spurs for a 134-96 win and the Raptors for a 116-100 win. The standout so far has been rookie first-round draft pick out of LSU forward Tari Eason. The 16th overall pick in the 2022 draft ended up with 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists versus the Spurs. He upped that performance with 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 1 assist versus the Raptors last Friday night. The Rockets overall as a team have an extremely bright future, and Tari Eason seems like he would play a huge factor in that now. He displayed excellent awareness and is also an underrated passer and scorer, especially in the paint. Many fans expect the Rockets to improve this season with the continued development and improvement of rising star and franchise centerpiece Jalen Green. Green, the number 2 pick in the 2021 NBA draft out of the G League Ignite, went on a tear to end last season, putting up great numbers and showing immense talent. Now in his second year, Green has put on more muscle and will look to take the next step. The talent just doesn't end there. The Rockets had the number 3 overall pick in this year's draft and selected Jabari Smith out of Auburn. The 6'10 forward is a sharpshooter and elite defender, something the Rockets need considering they struggled in both last year. Smith looked great in his first preseason game against the Spurs with 21 points and 8 rebounds. Unfortunately, he suffered a left ankle sprain, and we won't be seeing the 19-year-old in action until later this month. Either way, there's a lot to be excited about if you're a Houston Rockets fan, with Alperen Şengün, the young talented center from Turkey, and starting lineup point guard Kevin Porter Jr. continuing to improve, as well as the hardworking forward Jae'Sean Tate. The Rockets open their season on the road against the Atlanta Braves on October 19th. Houston, it's time to pay attention to soccer. The Houston Dash of the National Women's Soccer League clinched their first ever playoff spot in team history on September 30th and will host their first ever playoff match here in Houston at PNC Stadium versus the Kansas City Current on October 16th. The Dash won the 2020 NWSL Challenge Cup in COVID year 2020 for their first championship, but it was a different format and not the typical NSWL playoff competition. The Dash head into the playoffs on a high note, beating the Washington Spirit in their last regular season match 2-1. Houston ends up with a 10-6-6 record on the season, fourth on the NSWL standings with 36 points. These 10 wins ended up being the most in team history, with 7 on the road. The Dash are a very exciting team and played consistent soccer for most of the season. Even though former star captain Rachel Daly of the England women's soccer team moved on to play in England, the Dash did not skip a beat. When I interviewed Rachel, she said with a smile on her face, "They're doing pretty well without me." She also mentioned how the team has grown in so many ways, bringing in top players and how they're on the road to success. Be sure to follow the Dash in their playoff run. Well, that's all for this episode, Cougs. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This has been Maanav Gupta, and we'll see you next time.